last month? Yeah? Yeah? Good, 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 good. So it looked more intimidating than it was, right? It was pretty, it went together pretty simply. Yes, the pieces were a little small. They'll get better from here, okay? I promise. So we had fun with this block. We put a couple techniques in here that are a little, are common, but a little different than last time. So that'll be fun. So, like we talked about last time, the best thing is to get your cutting chart out, cut everything to size right off the bat. Lay it out so you can see it. Who did that? Woo! All right. So funny story, this week I was at my house putting the block together, sewing like a crazy woman, and Beth came to my door, and I realized I was wearing like black sweatpants and black, and I had thread like and she came in and looked at my table and she's like, what happened to mise en place? And I was like, that's just the way it is today. So anyway, but it does help to get everything laid out so you can see what you're doing. So in step 1, we will bring out our, I didn't lay everything out from last time. We will start cutting our fabric. Now you'll notice that you have 3 squares of fabric. Your center square fabric is going to be a little bit smaller than your other 2 colors. Okay, so just note that you get the right one when you start cutting for your center square. You're going to cut these into quarters, and that will be in the step. You'll see that, and then you'll have these small ones here. Get everything cut to size. Now the strips, you'll see those. You won't need to cut those till we get to the step. You don't need to cut those down ahead of time, okay? So our first step, let me get my, oh, I did this last time. You guys missed it. I was like totally turned around like crazy. I had to have Peter come up here and rearrange it for me. So you guys get a treat because I've ran through this morning and already flipped it up. So, all right. So we're going to start with our 4 corner squares in section 1. And so there are these guys right here. You're going to have 4 of these fabric A squares that you're going to cut to size. And then you're going to have 4 of these smaller squares up here. We're going to lay those on the edges, and we're going to sew corner to corner and flip it, just like we did the flying geese last time. Okay? Now, this piece you can do the same technique that we talked about last month, where you only cut out the middle. Who did that? Did it? What do you guys think? It works really awesome. Good. Yeah. It takes the stretch out. Yeah. Now, there's a couple pieces in here. This block in particular, when you put it together, starts to feel a little bit bulky towards the middle. We'll talk about this when we get to this center square. We use the same technique. It's up to you. If you want to trim both pieces, it does work with this square okay to trim both of them off. In fact, it makes it lay a little bit flatter. But these corner pieces, I really liked just trimming that middle part out again, okay? If you guys have any questions about that, again, we can talk about it, but it works pretty well. One thing to know, and you'll see I did this right here, if you offset this square a little towards the center, and you'll see the black around the sides, and you flip it forward, it actually will come to, well, this one is offset, but when you fold this up, it actually covers the whole black part. You won't have any, you'll have a little bit of overlap, but it'll lay in the block really nice that way, okay? So we'll make 4 of these units. That is step 1. Our next step is this center block right here. So we're going to cut this one to size. Of course, we did that already. And we're going to do the same sew and flip method. So we'll put these corner to corner and flip and then trim. And I would suggest just trim that middle out first. And then when you go to put this block together, if you feel like it's too bulky, you can go ahead and take out some of that other fabric if you want. But it still does keep your square in the back so that you can measure it nicely, okay? So you can leave that. Now this square in particular, pay really close attention that you get these on really straight and square. If this center block is off a little bit, you'll notice it because it is the center square. and it's a little bit bigger pieces. So if you do need to put it on and then take it off because you feel like it's not quite there, that's okay. I actually did that a couple times. This one, I was tired, so I decided to leave, but you can see it is a little bit off. Plus, it's good for everybody to see that everybody makes mistakes, so I left it. So you'll do the first two colors first. You'll sew corner to corner. Make sure you mark your line. And we do still have, I think we still have some of that ruler left. I reordered some of that ruler in where you can put it on the line and mark down the center of the ruler. So you can do that or mark your line. So corner to corner. And you'll do the two opposite sides first, and then you'll put on your other side. And you'll notice that it does overlap at the seam allowance there when you sew corner to corner, and that's okay. That's what you want. So corner to corner, and then you'll press those out, and voila, you get this nice center block. So that's step 2. All right, so we're going pretty good here. Now, here is the next step that you guys are all looking at, I'm sure. I just want to, before I even explain anything, I want you guys to give my husband Peter a round of applause real quick. So, it really pays off to be married to an engineer who can do math. That's all I have to say. So, funny story about this block. We love this block. Looked at it, we thought, okay, this is going to be pretty easy to put together. We'll do strips. And since we've already had the size of our quilt measured out, we're putting our block into a preconceived, or pre-done size, right? We're retrofitting it to our quilt. Well, that started to cause some problems with our triangles. So some of our triangle measurements were like, what? What did you say? What, like 1.208 you would have to cut, right? Yeah. So we all put the block together, and we were all embarrassed. All 4 of us ladies were embarrassed to even bring our block in because it looked so bad, and we're all thinking it was us, right? So we get here and we're like, oh, everybody had a problem. Okay. So Peter got his calculator out and did calculations and graph paper, and he goes, I fixed it. And he found it, and he made us a template, which is in your packet, so that you don't have to do that math. He did it for us. So thank you very much for doing the math for us. Our block fits, and it works really well. Okay? Wow. So we'll go through this here right now. So you're going to take these 2 strips, and you're going to sew them together with a 1/4 inch seam on one side. And then the best way to do this is to take your long ruler, and we're going to trim. Now we're going to trim the strips to the right size. Okay? So we're going to trim the strips edge to edge. They're going to be at 2 inches. Okay? So we'll go this way. That'll be better. Yes. So edge to edge, you'll see there, and we'll trim right at 2 inches. Okay? If you want to be a math whiz, you can actually put your ruler on your seam and measure 1.75 and trim that way. You will get a more accurate measurement if you do that, because our seams can all get off a little bit, and so that will give you a nice straight line at 1.75 here. But if you want to just do it to 2 inches, that works really well. Okay? Now, after we've sewn these strips together, we're actually going to open it up, and we're going to press our seams open this time. So you'll see we've pressed the seams open. That makes this strip lay really nice and flat that we can cut it. Okay? And from here, we will cut 4 triangles on our 45-degree angle. Now, is everybody familiar with doing that with their ruler? Okay. We wanted to be able, this ruler that we gave a lot of people last month, we wanted to be able to use it again. And so you can use this ruler to cut those 45 angles. And if you go to this side, with the point, actually works really well. You put it right on that top point and right here, and you'll cut your 45 just like that, and then you'll flip it over and do the other side. Okay? So this ruler that some of you bought last month works really well for this. Instead of trying to measure your line with the big ruler. This always works fine for me, but for some reason I always get myself a little wonky with it. So if you want to use this guy, it works really well. Where's my 45? Where is it? There it is. So this one, you would just put that 45 on your bottom edge there and cut this side. And what you want to do is come out with 4 triangles. You will have 4 triangles that have alternating colors on the tips, okay? And that's why we did it this way with the strips, because that's what we want our result to be. My other triangle's right here. All right, now here comes the math part. Ready? That we don't have to do. You're going to cut out your template that we gave you, okay? And you'll notice across your template, there's actually on your template, it's a red line. We gave you 2 templates in case you need a second one, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. When you cut this template out, I want you to make sure that you cut a scant edge. Don't cut the black outline out. Just make sure and keep that black outline. You'll just get a more accurate result. All right? So you're going to put this center seam line of the strip on the transition of the two lines there. This one's a little oversized. This looks like that's because I don't have the one. I trimmed that off a little too much. But just for kicks and giggles, you'll see. Put that right on that seam line, and then see this scant little edge here? This is the math that Peter did for you. Just take that off. All right?
Cool.
All right. Thank you, Peter, for doing that. So, and we redid the block after we used the template, and it just went like that. So you guys will be good. All right. Our next step is we are going to make, oh, I skipped a step. Okay, so go back to step 3A. I did step 3B because I'm so impressed with the template. So I skipped ahead. All right. So we're going to have these, we're cutting these into quarters, okay? These strips into quarters. Make sure you mark your lines, cut it into quarters so that they're real nice and even. Now, you're going to take fabric A first and bring it down. You want the 90-degree corner to face to the right, okay? So 90-degree edge faces right. And then you're going to take fabric C and you're going to lay it on top. All right, just like that. And then you are going to sew the seam on the short edge, okay? Not the long edge. I did that a couple times because I was on autopilot. So short edge. And if you lay your fabrics out like this, 90-degree corner facing to the right, and then fabric A down first, fabric C over top of it, you'll get all your units the same. All the colors will be the right direction, okay? So you're going to get 4 units that look like this, okay? Now these are the triangles that are going to meet these triangles, all right? And you will notice, again, here's our math that we don't have to do again, okay? You'll notice that they don't look like they match. They're not supposed to, okay? You're going to actually just line up and write this down if you want, because I know it's not in your directions. I added this later at the 11th hour. You're going to line up your bottom edge and center it so that your points meet up top, okay? And you sew that puppy together and press it out, and you will get your perfect size triangle for the block, or your perfect size square for the block, okay? Any questions about that? Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Sorry about the crazy math. We didn't realize at the time until actually this week that was going to happen, but I think we hopefully made a pretty good solution, okay? So you'll end up with these units that look just like this, okay? Now, we've made all of our units at this point, okay? So we're going to lay these out, and this is where you guys missed it. I totally went all dyslexic on this at the first class and couldn't get it together. And so I had to get some help, but we got it together. Even though I put this block together, I don't know how many times have we done it this week? A lot. And so we're going to lay this out again in our 9 patch. Okay, so we've got our top strip here we're going to put together, this one and this one. And it's good to lay these out ahead of time so you'll see where they're all going to go. Oh, see, I'm already messing it up. There we go. Hey, this is going better, right, guys? Nope.
There you go.
I told the last class, I actually, one of my daughters was diagnosed with dyslexia this year, and in the process of her being diagnosed, they diagnosed me. Which I was just like, how can that be? I was always an avid reader, and I went all the way through college, and then she said, well, do you have problems with this and this and this? And I was like, oh, makes sense. So there we go. We've got our block all laid out here, and we're going to put these corners in. So we're going to put these three together first, these three together first, and these three together, and then we'll sew them all together, just like our 9 patch on the last one. And then our last step will be our corner points. So you're going to have a fabric piece, the same as last month, that's 14 by 14. Go ahead and cut it on the corners, on the quarters like you did last time, and attach it to the outsides, and then don't trim it down. We're going to trim them all down at the very end of our class when we get all our blocks done. So you guys have now gotten the skinny on this next block. Good job. Any questions? Okay, yes.